You found a 2018 center console on Facebook Marketplace for $32,000. Gelcoat looks factory fresh. Cushions aren't cracked. The Yamaha fires up clean and the seller seems like a decent guy. You're already picturing Saturday mornings at the ramp. What nobody in that transaction is going to mention is that the stringers holding that hull together are made of lumberyard plywood wrapped in a single layer of mat, and they've been wicking bilge water for 6 years straight. That boat isn't a deal. It's a countdown. I spent a genuinely embarrassing amount of time this month pulling construction specs, cross-referencing Hull Truth Forum threads, reading warranty documents, and calling dealerships, pretending to be a buyer just to see how they'd answer basic structural questions. Most of them couldn't. And that right there tells you everything about this industry. The obsession with comparing fish box sizes, T-top brands, and Garmin versus Simrad, while completely ignoring what the stringers and transom are made of, is the most expensive mistake in recreational boating. Your electronics will be obsolete in 5 years. The hull construction determines whether the boat exists in 20. So today, we're doing something different. I'm not tearing down what's bad, I'm tearing open what's good. 5 boats. All under $40,000. All with construction you can verify, and I'll give you the exact questions to ask so you can check my work yourself. Before we get to the list, you need 60 seconds of education. There are 5 things that kill a fiberglass boat from the inside, and 4 of them are invisible at a sea trial. Plywood stringers. The structural ribs running the length of your hull, carrying engine weight and absorbing wave impact. Builders form them over plywood and wrap them in fiberglass. The plywood provides almost zero structural strength. The fiberglass shape does the work, but when water finds a crack or a drill hole, the plywood wicks it like a sponge and rots from within. Composite stringers using foam core or Kusa board cannot decay. Balsa core decks, a fiberglass sandwich around end-grain balsa wood. When water gets through a screw hole or a cracked hatch rim, it migrates through kerf lines in the balsa and feeds fungal rot. A boat can gain hundreds of pounds of water weight before the owner ever feels a soft spot. PVC foam core cannot rot. Wood transoms. The transom holds your entire outboard motor, 400 to 600 pounds of engine, all thrust forces, all dynamic shock loads, and every bolt hole is a water entry point. Plywood transoms in saltwater can show rot in under 10 years. Chopper gun layup. A gun sprays randomly oriented glass strands mixed with resin into a mold. Fast. Cheap. A hand-laid hull using pre-cut biaxial fabric at the same thickness has roughly 3 times the impact strength. And finally, 304 stainless steel hardware. Looks identical to 316 on the showroom floor. In saltwater, 304 develops pitting corrosion within 3 years. The only difference is 2% molybdenum. And it's the difference between hardware that lasts 3 years and hardware that lasts 30. Now you know what to look for. Here are the 5 boats that got it right. Number 1, the Scout 195 Sportfish. Used examples from 2014 to 2019 run $22,000 to $38,000. I personally think Scout's construction philosophy is the most impressive in this entire price range, and it's not even close. Scout has never used a chopper gun. Every hull, every deck, every hatch, every console lid, all hand-laid fiberglass. No other manufacturer under $40,000 makes that claim. And they have never used wood in any model. Ever. Not once in the company's history. The stringers are all composite. The transom is fully composite with their proprietary strata-mount system that routes stringers directly through the transom into the engine mount, distributing thrust across the entire grid instead of concentrating it at one point. And here's a detail that shows how these people think. They install whaleboard, composite backing at every potential mounting point on the boat, whether the customer orders that accessory or not. So 5 years from now, when you want to add a rod holder, you're drilling into structural backing instead of unsupported fiberglass. The honest caveat, Scout's liner bonded construction means you can't see traditional stringers in the bilge. Some forum guys don't love that, though no structural failures are documented, and the 195 ride's a little light in steep chop. You're paying for construction quality, not rough water mass. Pay attention to this next one, because it explains a lot about what separates marketing from engineering. Number 2, the Sportsman Masters. 207. Used examples from 2017 to 2022 run $28,000 to $38,000. Sportsman does something no other manufacturer at this price bothers with. They publish their entire build process on video, step by step, in a series called Behind the Glass. You can watch them lay fiberglass, bond stringers, pour foam, and install transoms. I watched all of them, and honestly, that level of transparency made me trust the product before I ever checked a single forum thread. 100% wood-free construction. The hull gets a vinyl ester resin barrier coat below the waterline for blister resistance. Stringers are molded in separate dedicated molds, bonded to the hull with aerospace-grade methacrylate adhesive, the same chemistry used in aircraft. The transom is CNC cut, Coosa board at 26 pounds per cubic foot density. Cannot absorb water. The caveat, and I'm going to be straight about this, boats built during the 2020 and 2021 COVID production surge drew more quality control complaints on the hull truth than any other model years. Powder-coated T-top fittings can show galvanic corrosion where stainless fasteners meet aluminum, and some owners report live wells that overflow into the bilge. None of those are structural issues. All of them are annoying. Everything I just showed you about these first two boats, that's a fraction of what I compiled inside the bilge files. 6 guides, pre-purchase inspection checklists, outboard blacklists, hull quality rankings based on what I physically found when I cut them open, dealer playbooks, and 15 repairs that cost under $50 in your driveway. $19.99 for the vault. Links in the description. Alright, so here's where things get interesting because the next boat on this list has a split personality. Number 3, the Cobia 22 OCC. Used examples from 2008 to 2016 run $28,000 to $40,000. And I need to be very specific about dates here. Pre-2000. 6 Cobias used wood and generic chopped fiberglass. Avoid them completely. In 2005, Maverick Boat Group, the company behind Pathfinder, Hughes, and Maverick, acquired Cobia and rebuilt every model from the ground up using their wood-free composite standards. The engineers who design $100,000 flats boats now build your $35,000 center console. Same factory knowledge, same construction standards, roughly half the price. The stringer system uses Lord structural adhesive, which creates a bond the manufacturer claims is stronger than the fiberglass laminate itself. The hull-to-deck fasteners are coated with temperature-sensitive epoxy that chemically bonds them into the fiberglass when driven, essentially welding every screw in place. That is seriously over-engineered for a boat in this class, and I mean that as a compliment. On the whole truth, buyers who physically examined a Cobia next to competing brands consistently noted Cobia's sealed hatches with rubber gaskets, gel-coated interior console surfaces, and cleaner plumbing routing. The hardtop gets called the best in its class repeatedly. The caveat, finding a post-Maverick 220cc under $40,000 means buying a boat that's 10 to 18 years old. Inspect gelcoat carefully, and never buy a pre-2006 Cobia thinking you're getting the same boat. Number 4, Key West 203 FS. Used examples from 2013 to 2019 run $25,000 to $38,000. Key West was building wood-free boats before most of these other companies existed. They introduced all composite construction on their 1720 model back in 1992. That gives Key West over 30 years of production data proving their composite approach holds up. Nobody else in this price range has that kind of track record, and that matters when you're betting $30,000 on a hull you can't see inside of. What I find most interesting about Key West is the foam fill decision. They voluntarily foam fill every single model 20 feet and larger. The Coast Guard only requires flotation foam in boats under 20 feet. Key West does it anyway, which makes every boat in their lineup genuinely unsinkable. Positive, level, upright flotation, even fully swamped. That foam also eliminates hollow cavities where water could pool and adds real structural rigidity. Owners consistently describe Key West hulls as feeling heavier and more planted than competing boats of similar weight. They also specify 316 stainless for all fasteners in writing. One of the very few manufacturers at this price point to make that commitment publicly. The caveat, Key West doesn't detail their specific layup method the way Scout or Sportsman does. Forum reports suggest standard production methods rather than premium hand-laid construction. The hull deck joint is screwed rather than adhesive bonded. Not deal breakers, but transparency matters. And most people never heard about this last one. Number 5. The Bulls Bay 2200. This one you can buy new for $30,000 to $38,000 with a 150 outboard and trailer. It's the only boat on this list that fits the budget brand new. Bulls Bay is built by Carolina Composites, the exact same factory and craftsmen who build Pioneer boats. Same hands touching the fiberglass. The savings come from simpler hardware, fewer features, and less premium upholstery. The hull construction is identical, hand-laid biaxial and quad-axial fiberglass. Composite unigrid stringer system bonded with structural adhesive, all composite transom, zero wood anywhere. The foam flotation is where Bulls Bay quietly over-delivers. Closed cell foam at 2.3 pounds per cubic foot, 30% denser than the industry standard, pressure injected to fill 90% of vacant airspace in the hull. That dramatically exceeds Coast Guard requirements and produces a hull that is essentially indestructible from a flotation standpoint, which, looking back on this whole list, was either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid of Carolina Composites, giving away Pioneer-level construction at a budget price point. I think it was smart. They found the buyers who care about what's under the gel coat more than what's on top of it. The caveat, the T-top, electronics, and seating will feel a step below Cobia or Scout. Budget for hardware upgrades over time. The brand is newer with less resale data, though the underlying construction has decades of track record through Pioneer. Now, the parting shot, and this one might save you more than the entire list. The word composite in boat marketing means absolutely nothing. Fiberglass over plywood is technically composite construction. One company that I will name, Robalo, markets 100% rot-free construction, while their warranty department has confirmed on the hull truth forms that they use marine plywood stringers. Their keel and transom construction is actually impressive. The stringers are not. And stringers are the backbone of your boat. Before you buy anything, ask the dealer or manufacturer these questions. What specific material is the transom core? Are the stringers wood-free? Is the deck cored with balsa or foam? Is the hull hand-laid or chopper gun? What grade stainless steel is the hardware? Is loaded hardware through-bolted with backing plates? And is the hull warranty transferable? If the salesman can't answer, walk off the lot. For used boats, hire a SAMS-accredited marine surveyor. $500 for a survey on a $30,000 purchase is the cheapest insurance in boating. The real question isn't which of these 5 boats is the best. It's why every manufacturer in this price range isn't building them this way. You already know the answer. YouTube thinks you'll like these videos. Click it, and I'll see you there.